friends, this is Dr. Parson. Wanted to give you a little video or talk to you about something that's prevalent in today's society. Obviously, it's COVID. And you know, COVID and the cytokine storm, this is called. Because this might explain a few things to you. I get asked a lot in my practice, and I feel like you should know this, and maybe I'll do a video and give it to my patients. Say, hey, look at this. This might explain why your cousin did this. So we'll get into it. But friends, after reading the literature, listening to the nutritional fields, listening to the experts, there's some things in common that you should know. And the media really hasn't addressed this. The only way they address it is what the government can do for you. Vaccinations, whole nother story. Lockdowns, but to do to you. Well, what can you do? But let me put this to you. But you might not even want to watch this video. If people eat wild, fresh, organic, local, non-genetically modified food grown in rich virgin mineral and nutrient-rich soils, that has not been transported across vast distances and stored for months before being eaten, and work and live outside, breathe only fresh air, unpolluted air, drink only pure, clean water, sleep 9 hours a night, move their bodies every day, and are free from chronic stressors and exposure to environmental toxins, then it's possible that they might not need supplements. But again, the media has not really addressed this. This is what we're going to talk about. It's a whole nother story. And again, I don't claim to be an expert. This is just information-backed research that I hope to bring to you. So let's get right to it. In my practice, many have acquired the coronavirus. But what many are curious about is why such a difference of symptoms. They're all over the place, unpredictable. To where you get no symptoms, fever, sinus, headache, fatigue, breathing difficulty, loss of taste of smell, 3 days in the hospital, 5 days in the hospital, etc. And yes, some of them, we know some people have passed. So why? So what's the deal? Let's investigate based on what everybody is telling me, and again, research-backed information. The cytokine storm emerged in the media quite a while back, and it's not new. It was previously used in the context of the seasonal flu. Its name, you don't have to remember all this, but cytokines are a group of proteins given to a family of proteins, most notably interleukins. Interleukins are from the immune cells, the leukocytes, thus interleukin, that's the name. And the key thing here, most cytokines in your body are pro-inflammatory. They cause inflammation. Inflammation is disease, period. So we don't want these things circulating in our body, and where are we at now? And higher the levels, problem. You're going to see where this is going. Don't worry about the name, just understand the process. When cells are stressed, cytokines are released. All right? Big stress, big response, storm. All right? You've seen small responses, a bee sting, a joint sprain, an infection, and red, heat, swelling, fever, and pain. Just imagine that in your lungs, like a bee sting, just all over your lungs. It's not going to survive the attack from COVID. So we want to get those cytokines down in our lives. And these are things you should have been doing, but hey, here's what you can do going forward. So why do we succumb to this storm? Again, imagine the large magnitude of this going on in your lungs. So researchers have determined that mental and emotional stressors, sedentary living, chronic sleep loss, and a pro-inflammatory diet cause cells to release an excess of cytokines. Even eating candy bars and sugars can cause a cytokine release. So we're in this chronic state of eating wrong over long periods. So you've got this big, you're already inflamed. What can you do? So that's kind of where all these things go. What can you do? First, if you want to know, you need to measure it. And lab tests will do that. Specifically, an inexpensive test because your CRP, C-reactive protein, it mirrors cytokine production. So that's one that your medical doctor does. If your normal is 1 milligram per deciliter, mild inflammation is 1 to 3. Anything over that, it's estimated that the 25% of the U.S. population has CRP levels over 3 milligrams per deciliter. That's per liter. Excuse me. That's too much. That's too much. That means you are in a high risk state. Now, if you don't take the vaccination, you want to know where you are. This is a good groundwork to do that. Instead of, I don't know if I should. Find out. More things to do. Go, get your CRP levels down. Get your fasting glucose below 100 milligrams per liter. Get your fasting triglycerides below 90 milligrams per deciliter. And get your HDL levels up above 50. All right, so those are goals. How can you do that? Let's see. So, reduce consumption of refined sugar, flour, and oils, which represent almost 60% of the calories consumed by the American diet, the average American. Get rid of those. We can go into high level of detail in later discussions. Replace this with vegetables, fruits, nuts, legumes, diets rich in omegas, fish, wild-caught fish, clams, etc. These olive oil, these things can make a huge difference in your inflammatory levels. You'll lose weight, you'll be less inflamed, and you'll be healthier by doing some of these. These reasonable goals are that anyone will essentially guarantee that a cold, flu, or a coronavirus will be mild or somewhat annoying experience rather than a life-threatening event. So think about that. Your diet can make a huge role in how response should you get the coronavirus. Supplements. Everybody wants to talk about supplements. All right, there are immune-boosting nutraceuticals. We know that. We know these. A lot of them are in the press, and people are flocking to this. Elderberry being one of them. Okay, take these, man, all the time, not just when there's some pandemic going on. But alpha-lipoic acid, N-acetylcysteine is a big one. Just write these down. These things should be in your life. Remember when we started this thing off, if you have a wonderful world of utopia and all the things I mentioned, that you may not even need to do this. Fish oils, pharmaceutical grade. Multivitamin, it's critical. You don't get the things from your soil. Magnesium, huge. Vitamin D3. D3 requires magnesium to work properly and be bioavailable. Vitamin C, zinc. Zinc, there's some debate on that, whether you should take it before or after, but low levels of zinc are okay, and it should be in your multivitamin, maybe a little bit more than that. But that's what they're feeding you at the hospitals when you get sick. So we'll wrap this up. Just a few things. Your diet, you don't have to go crazy on this. Your diet, your supplementation matters. Get your inflammatory levels. If you don't know where you're at, and are you at risk, find out. These are tests we can do in the office. These are tests that you can do through your medical doctor. So thank you, and hope you learned something. Have a good day.